Welcome to Let's Curate's webcast series. Our second international jewelry exhibition, Opulent Handmade Treasures, is now live. This year, our objective is to present designers who thrive on maximalism as part of their creative core. Today, we're presenting a very unique designer from Australia. Lorena Balea-Raitz fuses tradition with fashion to create beautiful handmade creations using Romanian lace techniques that are Reiki infused to inspire good vibes. Hi, Lorena, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to speak to you, especially, because this is the first time that we are actually showcasing such a specific technique like Romanian lace technique. And, I saw your work and I was just enthralled because it's so unique and it is true to its word. It's very opulent and it's very glamorous and it's got so many details. I was wondering, everyone has a starting point in their journey. What was your inspiration behind your jewelry aesthetic, especially the antique lace techniques that you use so much in your collections?
So, to be honest, I studied fashion. I'm a professional fashion designer. And when I started, I never thought that I would do jewelry because I did haute couture. I worked as a designer and then I moved to Australia. And I wanted to do fashion again, but fashion is so different here. So I started teaching and somebody said to me, well, what can you do that is special? And I said, well, I think I can do lace. And this is how my journey actually started. And Romanian point lace is actually something that is very old-fashioned, traditional. It's more known as a wedding gift or a christening gift or as furniture decoration. And it was very popular in Romania, Transylvania, where I'm from, in the 50s till the late 80s. And it was kind of like dying out. When I started teaching this technique, I didn't have no English book to teach. I didn't have nothing. I was like a little baby. So I started writing a book about the simple techniques, how to start. But I was like, it's always boring. It's like what my grandma would do. Let me spice it up a little bit. How do I make it teachable for younger generations? So I started to introduce colors. And then I was like, this needs to be like super modernized. And then I was starting to create jewelry and accessories, and I kind of stuck to it. It kind of like stuck with me really well. And living in Queensland is the bold state. Everything is colorful here. Nothing is boring and bland. You hardly see somebody dressed in black or simply in white. So I started to introduce only colors. And everything that I do is statement piece and color. So this is how it started.
That's incredible. And it's always fascinating when you can use a traditional technique and give it a modern spin, because I think that's how, in a strange way, that allows that technique to still continue in a new form. I'm sure at some point it might go back to being, the way that you had learned from, way back. It's always cyclical, but I feel like to kind of give it like a fresh perspective. It's always good to, and I think those are the collections that really connect with people because it's new, but the format is new, but your foundation is based in something. It's almost like a legacy technique, right?
It is kind of like a legacy because it followed me everywhere, and I actually didn't realize it till I was actually thinking about collections. I actually realized that I did my first collection with Romanian point lace when I was still not even finishing high school. When I went to the United States, I had one piece in there with Romanian point lace that I just realized maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, oh man, I did that too. So this thing kind of like follows me if I like it or not. And it's kind of like introduced into whatever collection I do.
That's incredible. There's another unique element to your, I would say, design aesthetic. You use Reiki, which is an integral part of your design. Can you tell our viewers what Reiki is and how do you incorporate it and why do you incorporate it in your designs?
So I learned about Reiki a while ago before my first child was born, and I was doing it and studying it quite a few years about when I stopped making lace for a year about. And Reiki is life force energy. So whatever we do is some type of energy. that we leave with us with every piece we do. Especially as artists, we put a lot of energy in our work, and we actually don't realize how heavy we can make a piece. So every single piece that I have is a statement piece. Statement pieces are normally, when it comes to accessories in our world, quite heavy. And this is also a thing that I hear from many clients. If it's a heavy piece, I have a tough time wearing it. So I'm trying to make it light. Because I'm working so long on each piece, I try to take my energy away from it. So every time when I finish and start a project, I always cleanse my tools, from the threads to the needles to the hooks to everything I use. Try to make it easy. If a client is interested, stones are added into each piece for certain purpose. If not, I know it's at least cleans and it's heavy and it's not carrying my energy necessarily around if I worked so long on it. So that's why I'm doing it.
That's interesting. So you almost want the wearer to kind of pass on his or her energy to the piece that you created. So it makes it so much more personal. I feel
that's also the main reason, but also every piece that I do is truly unique. So if you have one, you can be sure that nobody else has it. So the material that I'm using is organic. So organic pieces, materials like cotton, bamboo, absorb a lot of our energy. And this is also the point why I'm cleansing it. And it truly feels lighter after that.
I can just imagine, and I have seen your pieces, and they're so elaborate, and it's got so many layers and so many, the textural effect is fabulous. But when you wear it, it's almost as if, it's like a cloud on your chest, or a cloud, on your ears. So it's a very, very beautiful.
That's what it is. It's very, very light, but it looks heavy.
Absolutely. So this is interesting because this is quite a complicated process, I can imagine. What about the process do you find most challenging?
So the process is, and not many people know this, every piece is just made with meters and meters, yards of simple cord. It is created by hand. That is made into a yarn, and that is sewn onto a piece of fabric. That piece of fabric is basically my canvas, my pattern. After I'm sewing everything and everything is done according to the pattern, it's been taken off. So everything sticks to that piece of fabric for that moment. And then other pieces, other elements will be attached to it. It doesn't matter if it's 3D or 2D. But after it's taken off, then it goes to a carrying process, then the cleansing process. So yes, that's how it's functioning, and every piece stays on that fabric, and this is how they get preserved. I mean, I have pieces that are more than 100 years old on a piece of paper or fabric that are passed on in Romania from generation to generation who does lace.
Wow, that's amazing. So do you hold on to those pieces, and do you kind of use those as maybe a reference point when you're trying to think of a new design or a new concept?
So the only thing that 2 pieces that I actually keep, and maybe you notice my collection that every piece has some kind of floral element onto it or some kind of fauna. The base on Romanian pointless, if I would keep it traditionally, it would be either a leaf or a flower. Now that's the only thing that I kept as an element to it, and of course the techniques. I'm also inventing new stitches to it just to keep it a little bit more updated. But that's the main element, that it sticks still to the organic flora and fauna design. Since I'm living in Australia, I'm connecting everything where I'm living and how I'm doing it with the eucalyptus flowers, with the different flowers that we have here.
How did you decide on the designs that we are presenting at our Opulent Handmade Treasures Exhibition here in New York City, which is going on right now?
So I don't know if you know, but Queensland, where I'm from, our state flower is the orchid. So that was the idea. Almost every piece has a different type of orchid in it. So that's how I decided to represent this part and what I'm doing by introducing our sage flower to it.
That's amazing. My favorite is the choker necklace because it's just, it's just such a wow piece. It goes with everything. It's got such a beautiful shape and it's got all these intricate details. All your other pieces are also amazing, but my personal favorite is the dish choker that you've made. And now that you've mentioned it, I do see, the commonality, but it's also, there's a synergy to it without it being completely in harmony. They all have their very, very distinct.
I do every piece is abstract due to a reason, because the traditional Romanian pointless is absolute perfectionist symmetry. You will not find a piece in the traditional Romanian pointless that is abstract or out of shape or some kind of irregular. So every single piece, it doesn't matter what function it has to be symmetrical. So that's why I'm trying to modernize it and give it an abstract shape, modern shape, but still very functional.
That's incredible.
That's the only reason.
No, but it's sometimes, when you have a lot of the element of perfection, I feel people pursue that, but it's a lot more interesting visually and conceptually when you don't see things perfectly, because I feel it, your eye kind of draws upon details which you probably would have missed if it was in perfect symmetry. And I think that's the nice thing about your designs, because it's got a flow to it, but it's not perfect shapes. It's not perfect, I would say, in terms of the technique is perfect, but the shapes and the concept and the way it flows it just feels very organic.
It is, yes. I'm sticking to the organic theme because the traditional one is very organic. You will not find anything modern, even after they did it in the 80s. Everything stuck to the same traditional pattern.
So what can we expect from you next? This is so exciting. I feel like your philosophy allows you to go in so many different directions. Where do you see yourself, or what do you think would your next step be on this journey?
So at the moment, I'm working on the collection for next year, 2024, and I'm working on a type of accessory that is a combination of crochet, embroidery, and Romanian point lace. But the type of embroidery is still not 100% a decision of mine. It's either Ari or Zardozi, because I'm working on a few kundan pieces in crochet. I would like to make some statement pieces inspired by Indian jewelry. I like them a lot, but I find that they are too heavy to wear. And because I wear a lot of big pieces and we go to a lot of Indian functions, I like to wear something that is light and not heavy. So my next collection it's about that.
We cannot wait to see what you come up with. That I thought that's such a beautiful combination. When it's ready, because it would be a perfect mix of European, I guess, technique with Indian elements, and that by itself sounds so unique.
It goes a bit into the Victorian jewelry type as well.
Fantastic. We are so excited for you, Lorena, and we thank you so much for allowing us to show your pieces here in New York City in our store and at our exhibition. I want our viewers to know that Opulent Handmade Treasures will go on until December 28th. We hope you all enjoy and purchase Lorena's beautiful, one-of-a-kind masterpieces. For more updates, of course, follow us on Instagram at @lets_curate. Happy curating, everyone.